Why is diversity and inclusion so important? Well, I think one of the many most compelling reasons is that our decisions are just way better when we have more diversity of thought around a table tackling a challenge and a problem. With all the perspectives, we see a more holistic picture. We see not just one perspective or two perspectives, but we see as many perspectives as we bring around the table. And so this Inclusion Week is important to remember that it's not just about diversity, but it's about including the diversity, welcoming, listening, acknowledging, really deeply hearing what people of diverse backgrounds are telling us, and including different perspectives in our decision-making process. If you sit on a board, if you lead an organization, if you're a CEO, if you're an executive director, if you're at a senior level position and you have the opportunity to bring more diversity around your decision-making table, you will see the benefits. The statistics show us that businesses that incorporate more diversity of thought around their decision-making table, whether it's gender, racial, neurodiversity, LGBTQ inclusion, all of these different spaces, it allows us to, if we're making a product, for example, allow that product to reach a broader market. If we're trying to pass resolutions in a government or new laws, and we're trying to understand how people think in the community, bringing more voices around the table only makes sense. If we are trying to educate in the global education sphere and we want to include more voices to help us understand the history that we're teaching to the students, this will exponentially increase how we can tackle the problems of our day for this generation and the next. So not just because it's Inclusion Week, but because every week inclusion matters. Not just diversity, but also inclusion, so that we can have spaces of equity and belonging. But beyond that, the way that the outcomes are really more the way we want them to be, that they take us to the next level in our businesses, in our corporations, and in our education spaces, and in our government spaces, in our community spaces. So I encourage you to think through inclusion this week for Inclusion Week, not just for the sake of inclusion, but for the benefits for you, your organization, your company, your community, the government that you're a part of, everywhere that you lead and work and live. The challenges we faced during COVID have given us opportunities to look at our systems and ask these questions. Who is not benefiting and why? And when we find the answers to those, often the solution lies in the area of inclusion. So I'm including you in this opportunity to dig deeper into inclusion. There's great books out there. On my podcast, I've had Perrine Fark and her latest book, Inclusion. There's much written out there. You can follow different people on LinkedIn speaking in the diversity and inclusion space. I will include other resources on my LinkedIn and in my social media, and you can also go to the A World of Difference podcast and listen to all the different guests that I've had on speaking about inclusion, who are in different walks of life around the globe, tackling different problems from different perspectives. And so I encourage you to go out and find voices that are not your own and listen to them. It will make a world of difference.